Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sandra Solomon. I was born in the West Bank from a Muslim family, raised all my life in Saudi Arabia, and I'm doing the movement Canadians Against Islamization to help Canadians to wake up and to raise awareness about the danger of the Islamization of Canada.
Where else have you lived in the Middle East? So you were raised in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, between Saudi Arabia and Jordan, but most of my life was in Saudi Arabia. When I moved to Saudi Arabia, I was 9 years old.
And I'm guessing you would have had to have been a Muslim, like you were born a Muslim and raised a Muslim?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I my whole family were Muslims, and we moved to Saudi Arabia when I was 9, and so I lived in 100% Sharia law constitution. Um, I came to Canada about 2005. My ex he applied for like immigration, and I was on the file with him. So he was the sponsor. Toronto mainly, and Mississauga, and I lived a little bit in Edmonton, but mainly in Ontario. Yes, I start to open my eyes into so many things that I've noticed the increase of hijabi women and also most of the restaurants also like halal, even if it's not like even a Chinese restaurant have to have a halal certificate food. So many I myself a beautician. I'm a beautician. Most of the hair salons in the big malls, they all have a hijabi section for Muslim women. And as I said, also like the number, I can see the number is increasing as well, rapidly, very, very, very fast. And the number of the mosques as well, and so many as well. A lot of Muslims active activities like a Muslim festival, Muslim conferences, Muslim here, Muslim there, everywhere. Like I can see, we are getting surrounded with the Islamic culture, and also something that I stood up against it, and I protest in front of it, a poster on TTC Dundas stating that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is messenger, asking people to collect a copy of the Quran, like for a da'wah, um, a mosque.
So, and is this something that's becoming commonly seen around Toronto?
Of course, like everywhere, like you go, like even when I talked to the TTC, when I protest in front of it, and I told them, and I asked them like to remove it because this is very offensive, and they end up just move it to another station. They did not remove it; they just move it. So
So critics, the average Canadian would probably say, what is the problem with that? What's wrong with giving Qurans away and making that statement of Islamic? I think because most Canadians probably see Islam as being a rough analog of Christianity and Judaism. But you grew up in Muslim countries. What would you respond to that?
I would say to these people, um, if you whatever they giving like a Quranic or a dawah or everything, this is just a beginning. This is not the end of it. They're not gonna stop up to this point. I wish they're just gonna stop up to this point. Yeah, of course, everyone has the freedom to practice. But I know for sure, as a ex-Muslim, they don't stop at this point, and living under Sharia law. This is creeping a little bit, slowly coming to the cities to implement Sharia law. This is their final goal. This is a steps to the final and big plan. So many of these Canadians, they don't see the big plan. They don't see the big picture.
Could you give me an example of when you say, in terms of Sharia law, implementing Sharia law, can you give me a couple of examples of what that might mean?
Sharia law.
Well, you say that they're trying to implement Sharia law here. So, can you give me a couple of examples of what that might look like? Like, why is that something to be concerned about?
Well, when we talk about Sharia law, okay, we're talking about the Quran. We're talking about a constitution because Islam, it's a political agenda. It's not a religion. For them, when it comes to Sharia law and their constitutional book, which is the Quran, that's what I always have in my hand to show people. This is the book that they govern with. Like this is their government. That's the government here in this book. So whatever the book tell them to do, whatever the instruction or the law in this book, they go by it. They don't go by Canadian law or Canadian values. And what it's look like living under Sharia law, it's hell. It's not funny. No freedom of speech. There's lots of abuses for women. No women right. No gender equality. There is no equal. And education in so many aspects, in so many levels. Sharia law. Um the Trudeau when he said it's totally when he said with an ICNA, he said Islam is totally incompatible.
Analyst Stephen Coughlin, who's a Sharia law expert in the United States, once said that, and you were earlier you referred to them doing dawah, which is, I think those people who even know the term think of it as proselytizing. But Stephen Coughlin says that doing dawah is not proselytizing the way a Christian minister might do it, that it's in fact laying the ground for jihad. Would you agree that that's true? If it's true, how is it true? And what exactly, when we talk about jihad, what do we mean?
Okay, I'll take you back 1400 years ago, okay? It's all started by a guy named his Muhammad, the founder of Islam. When he was in Mecca doing his dawah for his claim that he's a prophet and he's bringing a religion, before he went to Medina, not many Muslims even know this. Before he went to Medina, he made arrangements with a group of bandits and thugs they called Sa'alik. These bandits and these thugs, he made arrangement with them if they would help him in his dawah, okay? He will give them more because these bandits, the thugs, they used to go like attack caravans and kill the men, taking women, sex slave, and take the kids as well, and train them to be like them. So Muhammad, when nobody listened to him in Mecca for almost like 13 years, and he was already planning this before he went to Medina. So when he took this group to Medina and start playing around, because the Medina were like full, if it's a tribal, the region was full of tribes, and these he starts using these thugs and these bandits like there is a serial killers, they're killers, they're like the people when they rent a killer to do the crime for them. It's the same concept. So he took them and he started using the conflict between tribe and another tribe, using these thugs to go wage a war against other tribes. And that's how he got to build an army, almost 300 people. And he went to Mecca, and then he started calling for jihad against the infidels. He called anyone who do not believe in him an infidel, kafir. So he claimed to be the final prophet, and his book is the final message, which is the Quran. And anyone who do not believe in this, considered kafir, infidels, and Muslims, which is equal, thugs and bandits, they have to wage a jihad, a war against these infidels, regardless. So that's why he started it. He went back to Mecca, killed many people, and established his government, the Islamic State. That's how it started, and from that story goes on for 1400 years, nothing changed. And when Muslims do da'wah, it's same what Muhammad did, using taqiyya when he used to say, oh, you have your religion, I have my religion, or la ikraha fi din, there is no compulsion in religion, it's okay. It was just a peaceful messages in the Maccayan verses. It was a temporary one until he got himself connected with these bandits and these thugs, and he was able to build an army. Then the Medina verses in the Quran, all of it, it talk about mocking the Jews, the Christians, going for jihad, kill the infidel wherever you find them. So many passages and so many verses in the Median verses calling for jihad, which is waging war against the infidels. And what same thing, whatever the Muslims are doing in Canada, in Europe, and everywhere, it's just a temporary, I would say, call it hudna, a temporary assignment or agreement until they are fully in control of the country.
Or in a position to take control, I imagine.
Exactly, in the position to take control, which is exactly what they're trying to do now in Canada, and I can see it happening.